Preity Zinta's complaint of abuse against ex-boyfriend Ness Wadia has generated huge debate on social media, with journalist and commentator Tavleen Singh attacking the actress for what she called making a molestation out of a tiff between ex-lovers when little girls are raped and hanged for nothing. Well, Shobhaa has hit back today, saying that Preeti's complaint is legit and that she's being isolated. Preity Zinta's lawyer, meanwhile, has said today that sexual molestation in fact is not mentioned in her complaint to the police, and that it is wrong for the police and the media to interpret it that way. The Mumbai police, in fact, have written to Preity Zinta today requesting her to record her statement in the next 3 to 7 days, so there is more clarity on the charges that she has levelled against Ness Wadia. The fact is also that Preity Zinta has, in fact, in her complaint mentioned section 354, which deals with outraging the modesty of a woman. Now that, I must clarify, her lawyer says does not mean she's talking about sexual molestation in any way. And yes, her complaint does not mention that in those words, but that section is something that she has invoked in the FIR, and that's under the section under which the case has been registered, along with a couple of other sections. Well, Tavleen Singh and Shobhaa join us on the show tonight. Tavleen Singh, to you first. You've been very, very strongly critical of Preity Zinta's complaint on this against Ness Wadia. Do you still feel that your attack is justified, with her lawyer saying today that she has not spoken of sexual molestation at all in her complaint, which is a fact? She doesn't say she was sexually molested anywhere.
Yes, but she's still made what, in my view, sorry, excuse me, is a very frivolous, complaint. She's using taxpayers' money to make a case about outraging her modesty, which seems a bit hard to believe in a stadium full of people. And the complaint is not against, a known gangster or a rapist or something. It's against a former boyfriend. So, I mean, couldn't she have dealt with this privately, saved taxpayers' money, saved a police case, and let me say one thing, Nidhi, which is my main reason for always opposing the feminists in India. It's because they take up this kind of case, that really serious problems which we'd have to deal with and have not even begun to address, get pushed to the background. So a woman in UP was raped today by, gang raped in front of her children. That doesn't make the news. What makes the news is this actress, complaining about an ex-boyfriend. And I think that really is misusing the law.
But Tavleen, two things that you have said have actually stood out for me. One, that the complaint is against her ex-boyfriend, and two, why are we playing up, this actress's complaint? Now, if she's an actress, she still can have a legitimate complaint. And even if it's a former boyfriend, if he misbehaves with her, if he abuses her, if he's physically abusive with her, that's not justified. It doesn't matter if they were in a previous relationship. He has no right to behave with her in that way.
Excuse me, Nidhi, are you saying that Ness Wadia physically abused her in a stadium full of people? She's a famous actress. Do you think that nobody would have risen to support?
He pulled her arm. He verbally, certainly, she claims, abused her. My point is, I don't know who's right in this. I don't know who's right, but can we dismiss Preeti's complaint because he's her ex-boyfriend?
No, it's not. Is it not possible for her to have dealt with it privately? Did it have to become a police case?
No, but she says she did try to deal with it personally. She wrote him a letter. She tried to deal with it earlier, and he didn't listen, and he repeated his behavior.
It's all very confused, because she says the letter she wrote to him was 6 months ago. And this incident occurred 15 days ago. But that's not the point. The point that I'm making is that she is a strong enough woman to have been able to get protection without needing to make a big public display out of what to me is a fairly trivial incident.
Okay, you're saying it's a trivial incident. Many disagree with you, including Shobhaa, who's written very strongly about it. Shobhaa, Tavleen Singh says it's a trivial incident. It involves an ex-boyfriend. She's alluded to the fact that Preity is an actress, and it's something that she should have resolved privately and didn't need to make such a big deal out of. Shobhaa.
Nidhi, I'm sorry I missed a few of Ms. Singh's earlier remarks, but I did catch her saying that had he been Had he been a gangster or something, it's a different story, but it's not about whether he's a gangster or a gentleman. I mean, abuse, whether it's sexual, it's physical, it's emotional or verbal, is abused by any other name. And yes, because she happens to be a famous actress and not a nobody, is why we are discussing her on this program in the first place, why she's on the front pages of the newspapers. Had she been an anonymous woman, and a lot of anonymous women do take abuse in public places and otherwise, and don't have the guts to follow it up with anything else. So I don't know whether it's a feminist thing to be saying. As a woman, I mean, as any right-thinking person, man or woman, if someone is being abused in a public place, in a large stadium, and let the police establish that, let the CCTV footage establish that, who are we to decide whether it's a lover stiff or it's something much more than that? And to trivialize it and to make it something that is so superficial and so irrelevant is actually demeaning to women across the board who have endured exactly similar situations and not uttered a word, because women are not supposed to utter a word because it looks bad, and polite company says you can't do that and you can't talk about these things, especially if the man is not a gangster or someone who is a notorious person in the public eye.
No, but Shobhaa, why do you think,
I don't buy that argument?
Why do you think Preity Zinta is coming under this kind of scrutiny?
Like any woman,
why is Preity Zinta coming under this kind of scrutiny?
To take whichever action the law allows her to.
No, but
Preity has taken that option, plain and simple, and now let the law establish whether she was right or wrong.
No, but why do you think
public display? I mean, it was happened in public.
No,
why should she keep it private?
But why is it that it's not just Tavleen? Look, it's not just Tavleen Singh.
According to her,
there are others on social media.
With a lot of other people who must have watched what was going on.
Shobhaa,
most of the time people do not intervene. And that is a fault of our hypocritical society. It's not Ms. Zinta's fault. She has shown a lot of courage by taking.
Tavleen, why do you laugh at that? Tavleen, why do you laugh at that? I mean, look, if what Preity says is true, Tavleen Singh.
Mrs. Shobhaa Day, I'd like to hear that kind of righteous anger when there's, girls being raped. No, Nidhi, my main point on this, which I think that Mrs. Shobhaa Day has totally missed, is that it's when you get women misusing the law, then people who really are vulnerable get to not be trusted when they use the law. And I believe that Miss Preity Zinta is misusing the law.
You have already pronounced a verdict that Ms. Zinta has misused the law without the law having taken its own course. That is very presumptuous. Extraordinarily presumptuous.
And I think it's Shobhaa Day, it is not presumptuous because actually the law
disclosures here.
No, but Tavleen, why do you think it's a misuse of the law? No, Tavleen, why do you think it's a misuse of the law?
Because the law was strengthened to protect vulnerable women, to protect women, to protect young girls who are going to be raped. So it's a very
not vulnerable because she's famous. But it makes her doubly vulnerable because she is famous.
No, but an actress can be vulnerable. A model can be vulnerable. One second, Shobhaa. Tavleen, an actress can be vulnerable. A model can be vulnerable.
Woman is vulnerable.
Why is this abuse classified in this way? You can, you can be a victim in any.
No, Nidhi. Maybe I'm not explaining. No, 1 minute. Of course, she can be vulnerable. If it was a casting couch we were talking about, I would support her. But this is a stadium full of people. Nobody appears to have seen this terrible assault on her modesty.
We don't know that.
So it's a little bit hard to believe. Well, we do know that the police has not been able to come up with the CCTV footage that establishes that.
Okay,
we do know that.
Let me just get.
We've got maybe she's.
Okay, sorry. No, I just want to get a lawyer into this. Madhu Mehra is an activist and a lawyer, and she joins us from Delhi tonight. Madhu, part of the problem in this case seems to be this whole controversy about the FIR that was filed and the section 354 on outraging the modesty of a woman, which now her lawyer is at pains to clarify, to say that no, we didn't mean sexual molestation. We haven't said that anywhere in the statement, which is correct. That has not been mentioned anywhere in her statement. The police, however, say that is normally taken to, they interpret the law in that way, that it is sexual molestation. Now, is there a problem with using 354 in this case if there was no overt sexual attack of any kind. Madhumera.
Nidhi, let me clarify, as far as the law goes, Section 354 does not require a sexual act. Any physical violence, whether it's pulling, pushing, jostling, groping, would also qualify as a molestation. The word sexual molestation need not be used. So when you're writing an FIR, if there are certain actions that could possibly fall within the ambit of 354, 354 needs to be stated there. It is absolutely unnecessary for anybody to use the word sexual molestation specifically, and use of abusive language, sexual language, derogatory language combined with physical jostling could amount to sexual molestation. The law gives every citizen, in fact even non-citizens, interestingly, the right to complain. And the purpose of the criminal justice system and the courts of law is to sift through these complaints, which one is right, which one is wrong, which one has enough evidence, even if it's right. After all, you do need evidence. So it is not for us really to sit and decide whether or not we are satisfied about a genuineness of a complaint. That is the job of the legal system. So I find this entire debate rather strange and redundant, because it is not the job of all of us to sit around the table and decide the merits of a complaint. The criminal justice system has been created by the state to do precisely that, to sift the right case and to evaluate the evidence. So I don't know why we are debating this. Preity Zinta, like any other person, has the right to complain if she feels aggrieved. And 354 is not a private matter. It's a cognizable offense. So it's also non-bailable. So, it's not a trivial matter. Historically, women have been told that everything that happens with them, within the family or with their boyfriends or former boyfriends or in an intimate situation is a private matter.
But that when Tavleen Singh says that by making this complaint, real rape cases in this country get trivialized, what would you say to that?
Unfortunately, the average constable in the police station is used to these assumptions and stereotypes. What is a real complaint? What is a false complaint? The job of a constable and a police station is to register a complaint when a complainant comes. I don't think the job of commentators or police is to sit and evaluate about what is a real and what is a false complaint. Often real cases fail because there is no evidence, only because the police did not investigate properly. Now, I would absolutely be wary of comments which treat a failed case or an acquittal as a false complaint. As we well know, even very serious crimes like murder sometimes, you cannot, or indeed, bomb blasts, we are not able to pin accountability.
Because you made a very important point about assumptions and stereotypes, and I think that's what Shobhaa Day was trying to say as well. Tavleen Singh, is that the problem here, that we're making, or you are making assumptions, or you're stereotyping Preity Zinta because she's an actress? Would you have reacted differently if she was a middle class girl?
I would say all women.
Yeah,
I would say all women tend to get stereotyped.
I am saying to you that in a country, if she was in the Western world, I would understand this. Most of our feminists, unfortunately, are still in the Western world in their heads. But in a country in which a child is raped or a woman is raped every 10 minutes, what I would expect from an educated woman like Preity Zinta is to not take what appears to be a spat. And the reason why we're commenting to the lawyer is because we've been asked to comment, right? And so we have a right to do that. We're not sitting on judgment. But in fact, we have already judged. If you read the tweets on Twitter, Ness Wadia is guilty now till proven innocent, right? My main point is that I would expect an educated woman to have realized that there are much more serious problems that the police needs to deal with,
Tavleen,
and to take something like
but
somebody
if,
using
okay,
bad words.
you're right. One second, Tavleen, you're absolutely, one second. We don't know whether Ness Wadia is guilty or not. One second, Madhu, one second. I don't know whether Ness Wadia is guilty or not. No one's taking sides here. But if we were just to look at Preity Zinta's complaint, Tavleen, if tomorrow, if someone was to abuse you or to abuse me and use that kind of language in a public place, and it's absolutely derogatory language that I cannot repeat on air. I mean, actually, Preity Zinta should be commended for being brave enough then to speak out about it. That's what many would say. Why should she take it lying down?
That's not my view. I really believe that if there'd been a more serious problem, if she'd been attacked, on the casting couch by a director, yes. If there was really something to take to the police, yes. But, to me, this is a case on which taxpayers' money and a lot of media attention is going to be wasted for no reason at all.